All right, kids, so I recently talked about my fandom of happy endings here on this channel, and I was reluctant to reveal that fact because I didn't want black people to know that I was into white people stuff. I felt that way before with some of my interests, like in high school, when black kids were talking about music or rap in particular. I didn't want to bring up Fiona Apple's album title, even though I liked it because of the lyrics and beats. Nowadays, I'm more open. I'm gonna tell people about the things I like. Y'all gonna get some of these things I'm interested in. Actually doing so is how I found out that other black people love Paramore too. Had I not said anything, I wouldn't have known that Paramore is one of the blackest things in the world, but still. There were times, and there are times, when I didn't want to stand out or be an alternative to blackness, kind of alt-black. Recently, we've had discussions about black people who are shunned, those identifying as biracial, being black and LGBTQ, and not being black enough, more specifically, acting white. Let's add what we're going to talk about today, a black nerd. A blerd, if you will. Now, a nerd is defined as a person considered to be socially awkward, boring, and stylish, etc. Traditionally, a nerd has been a white, cisgendered man wearing ill-fitting clothes and glasses, can't get a date. More on this definition in a second. I am a black nerd. Yes, I acknowledge it. I embrace it. I don't know how I'm one anymore, whatever it is. I could be doing it now, I guess. Although, I'm none of what the definition describes. I was first told that I was a nerd by my parents, mainly because I talk like this. To them, it was talking white. And a friend of mine called me a nerd as recent as a few months ago. I think I was rattling off stats about poverty and violent crime. But nerd isn't really pejorative anymore either. So yeah, there's nerdiness in general, but in black communities, it's being affiliated with a lack of cool. And a lack of cool was tied to whiteness due to the stereotype I mentioned a second ago. Gone are the days when Steve Urkel or Carlton Banks were the epitome of black nerds. Now we got real nerds like Issa Rae or fictional ones like Shuri, who can define the states of matter, solid, liquid, and gas, but include black lives, context, and representation into things that matter. If you couldn't tell, blerd is a combination of the words black and nerd. In essence, a black nerd. First used in this context by Dr. Turk, played by Donald Faison on the TV show Scrubs.
Hey, baby, I know things haven't exactly gone smoothly so far, but I promise you I'm about to make it up to you. I spent all weekend talking to my cousin who just so happens to be the world's biggest blerd. It's a black nerd.
Oh.
Donald Glover said, strange specific stuff. That's what makes a nerd during his stand-up special, adding, Kanye West is a black nerd. If you go up to Kanye West and say, hey, what are your favorite things? He'd be like, robots and teddy bears. What we're going to focus on in this episode is the second definition. An intelligent but single-minded person obsessed with a non-social hobby or pursuit, like a computer nerd, which tells us it's not simply that people are hyper-focused or something. It's also that they're hyper-focused on some things. Look at Jay-Z, greatest rapper of all time. Is he a nerd? He's married to Beyonce, come on. Now, if women like man nerds is a separate conversation. LeBron James, hyper-focused on his legacy and being an all-time great basketball player, which he is. Is he a basketball nerd? Well, yes, but no one calls him that. Dave Chappelle has a single-minded pursuit of cancel culture, all while his comedy special on Netflix, The Closer, is still available to watch. He maintains the $20 million he earned, and he's playing sold-out shows each week. Is he a cancellation nerd? No. Rap, play basketball, do something, sell crack with some light-skinned girls and some Kelly Rowlands. These things seem to be nerd-proof in black communities. Dope people do nerdy stuff, and nerds do dope stuff. Nerds are supposed to be smart or something, and a gripe among black people is this idea that our communities don't pursue academia and grades as hard. And someone will have to ignore the centuries of this country denying black people access to free public education in order to say that. Do we need to talk about underserved and underfunded schools and BIPOC neighborhoods? Also, America doesn't value education as compared to other countries. We definitely don't value true history and humanities, but I digress. As the notion goes, though, black people who are obsessed with education are shunned. Being educated may be seen as a non-social pursuit, and educated people may not be cool or even, be acting white. And it would seem like black leaders are athletes and entertainers for one reason or another. I don't know if it's because they exemplify our ideal of success, being rich and famous. Perhaps our movie stars and musicians make up for our lack of Fortune 500 CEOs, oil magnates, black politicians, and representation in Congress. It just gets weird when the news or media wants an opinion from a black person and they don't seek the nerds, the experts, doctors, professors, scholars. Instead, it's the Kyrie Irvings of the world. But lately, it's not so much about him as much as it's about popularity and influence, and if he happens to say something that those who told him to shut up and dribble suddenly agrees with. Malcolm X. Is he a nerd? Anyway, Malcolm X said as much. I can't say how much things have changed and if things have changed altogether, or if other racial or cultural communities do it too. However, while black communities may not often name a number of them, we aren't short on intellectuals, the blerds among us. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson is educated. He's cool. If he's a nerd, it's merely due to his profession as an astrophysicist. Tom Morello. Can we talk about Tom Morello? I don't know what he considers himself, but he's educated. He's mixed. He's dope, right? He's really into socialism, so there's that. He plays guitar in a rock band. Okay, he's a black nerd. He's a black nerd. If anyone is wondering, the need to distinguish black nerds from just nerds is because black people have always had to create spaces for ourselves where we are made visible, can commune, and celebrate our accomplishments. Asking why comes along the lines of the need for a Black History Month, Black entertainment television, a Black national anthem, and the like. But they aren't for exclusion of others, which is why it's called Lift Every Voice and Sing. Plus, up to 24% of the students attending HBUs are non-black, by the way. So, when I was in high school and college, was I considered smart? Yes. When teachers and professors directed questions to the class, I would raise my hand and get the answer right all the time. Is that what made me a nerd? I didn't have good grades because I didn't do my homework and I had poor study habits, but I was great at debates. Was that nerdy? Yet I remember thinking other black kids were nerdy because they would rush home in order to watch Dragon Ball Z. That was something I didn't watch or like. Not that it was bad. It was just, I gave 2 episodes a chance, but they consisted of Frieza floating in midair, breathing all heavy, talking smack to Goku. And I was like, get him then. Kung Fu him right now, right quick. Maybe it happened, but I never found out. The point is, I let those kids have and enjoy that, and I didn't call them nerds to their faces. As I alluded to earlier, I wasn't obsessed with a non-social hobby or pursuit, but today you can find all kinds of people who enjoy anthologies most associated with nerdity, like anime, playing Dungeons and Dragons, cosplay, anything about Star Wars, Pokemon, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, or any other fantasy stuff. Me, I like superhero comics and cartoons due to my childhood. But if you didn't watch The Amazing Spider-Man, X-Men, and Batman the Animated Series on Fox Kids at that time, there was something wrong with you. And this love of comic books and superheroes is how and why we enjoy the Marvel Cinematic Universe together, kids. I guess I just want the 2 of you to be able to enjoy what you're interested in, to be able to express yourself without being called whatever the future equivalent of nerd used to be. And it won't be enough for you to get something out of it. All the time you're using to be blerds in anything, share these things with the world. Black nerds unite. And we're going to be all right.